Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So in this video I'm going to look at 5 horses that are being lined up for graded events that I actually think should run in a handicap next. I know these are going to be quite high in the handicap, but it can be done. Look at Brave Man's Game yesterday. He won off a mark of 159 in a handicap. You often find, and something I'm a big advocate for, is horses that are going up to continually run in handicaps whilst they can, and only when they need to actually step into the graded company, get them more experience over hurdles or fences, and not waste essentially a handicap mark. You do sometimes see horses that are rated 150 taking on another horse rated 135. That 135 horse goes and finishes a close second, goes up £8, wins £8 because the prize money is so poor in that graded race, and next time would have to run off whatever I said it was, 143 if I said it was 135. So, but there's also then lucrative handicaps that horse could have run in off 135 and actually, probably won off 135. The fact that it went up £8 for finishing so close to a 150 horse, it probably was ahead of its mark. You also get the opposite. You get horses that continually run in grade 1 events that aren't quite good enough and then drop back into a handicap and go and win it off quite a high handicap mark. A trainer that's really good at this is Willie Mullins. He's done it with a steering for lunch. Let's have a look at some of his runs. He won this 42 grand handicap, having previously run in, we'll close these as we go, a grade 1, he was third. Another horse to do a similar thing, Aramon. He won the Galway Hurdle after coming from a grade 3 hurdle, so he wasn't afraid of going grade 3 and then actually dropping him back to a handicap. He'd also finished second in a county hurdle with a really high mark, having previously run in a grade 1 champion hurdle at Leopardstown. Arctic Fire, winner of a county hurdle. He won that county hurdle for 158 after previously being second in a champion hurdle behind Foheen. And finally, Saudier had also done something similar. He won a Galway hurdle off a mark of 155, having previously been seen in a Stayers hurdle at Punchestown. So Willie Mullins is very, very good at this. But there's other horses and trainers that I think should be doing this in the next few weeks. And we'll start off with McFabulous, who is trained by Paul Nicholls, so hopefully Paul has a similar idea to Brave Man's Game. He's not quite good enough for the graded races, drop him into a handicap. He's got a handicap mark of 150, having previously been seen in a grade 2 when he was 4th behind Paisley Park in that incredible race from Paisley Park. He's also finished second in a grade 2 at Cheltenham in the Rail Kill. The last time he ran in a handicap, he did win, albeit off a much lower mark of 132. He went off the 5-2 favourite that day and was very impressive. Now, he's not good enough for the top grade 1 races. And in actual fact, you can't even really get a price about him in the Stayers Hurdle, 50 to 1. But that demonstrates there's almost no point continually running him in graded races. He's probably not going to win them. Could he win a Coral Cup, for example, off 150? Absolutely. He travelled really well last time at Cheltenham over 3 mile, having previously finished second over 2.5 mile. That's the Coral Cup trip. Run him in a handicap and actually show that he's the best horse in the race and win it. The second horse that I think is being aimed at the Ryanair is Shan Bleu, which I think is a crazy decision. Last time out, he fell in the Charlie Hall, which was unfortunate. He was probably going to win, very likely going to win. But if we look at those horses behind, Fusil Raffles was behind, and he's been beaten twice in handicap since. Kitty's Light was behind, and he's been beaten twice or 3 times in handicap since. Let's just have a quick look. Kitty's Light has been beaten 3 times in handicap since. Fusil Raffles has been beaten twice in handicap since. He was beating handicappers in that grade 2. So the fact that his mark was then not adjusted, he was left on 148. His efforts when second to Chantry House, that wouldn't be good enough to win a Ryanair. He was 5th to Chantry House, Fusil Raffles, a steering for lunch. That wouldn't be good enough to win a Ryanair. He was second to Sporting John in a novice chase. that probably wouldn't be good enough to win a Ryanair. The last time he won, he beat the Big Breakaway, who's running in a handicap, and If the Cap Fits, who's running in a handicap. But he's being aimed at the Ryanair. Granted, he's only full favourite, but is he really likely to beat Allaho? I don't think so. But off 148, he'd be absolutely thrown in for the Paddy Power Plate. Let's have a look to see what price you can get about him on the Paddy Power Plate. Bearing in mind he's 12 to 1 to win the Ryanair. If he ran, he'd be as short as 5 to 1. William Hill go, non-runner, no bet, for the Paddy Power Plate. He would be absolutely thrown in. Why on earth are they targeting the Ryanair against a horse that I think is almost the banker of the festival, Allaho? He'll destroy his rivals and just run them into the ground. The third horse is Rouge Vif. Rouge Vif is also for Paul Nicholls, so hopefully, with that Brave Man's Game, and obviously he's won handicaps before with Denman of 161 and 174. He won a handicap with Caldo Star of 167. So running a horse, Rouge Vif of 153, is not ridiculous. And he's also won a handicap off a higher mark. Let's have a look at Rouge Vif's recent efforts. He was third in the Savignaco Conti at Kempton, behind Eldorado Allen and Mr. Fisher. He was fourth behind Politologue, Nuba Negra, and Put the Kettle On in essentially like a champion chase trial. He was ninth in the Grade 1 champion chase last year. He's not Grade 1 company. This was the last time he ran in a handicap, though. And he won it. And he won it really impressively. He won by 7 lengths. If we have a look, I don't think you can even get a price because he's not entered in the champion chase. And he is entered in the Ryanair. And I had him at 50s. There's almost no point running him in that. There's a more suitable race. Drop him back to handicap company. Run him in this race. And what can we get about Rouge Vif? He is in here. 16s and 14s. I actually think that's a big price if he did turn up. What's the point of continually running in graded races and not getting close? Drop him into a handicap. The Grand Daniel's got good prize money. Run him in that. The next horse, Indefatigable. They've been talking about the Mare's Hurdle, which Indefatigable is as big as 40 to 1 for, and the Stayer's Hurdle, which you can get 66 to 1 about. Why would you run in those types of races when you've arguably got no chance? The fact she was well beaten yesterday in a listed event, beaten by Getatonic and Marie's Rock. Previously, she'd run a really good race and actually finished second off a handicap mark, in a handicap beaten by Martello Sky, who, as you can see, is still possibly improving. The last time, the second penultimate time that Indefatigable ran in a handicap was in the Martin Pipe Conditional Jockeys Hurdle when she won. Surely that's got to be where they go now. You can actually get a price, I think, about Indefatigable in the... Can you get a price? Let's have a look. Martin Pipe. In the... No price. Because they're not even really talking about it. But surely, after running off a £2 higher mark in a listed event, she might drop those £2 and be the same handicap mark as when she won the Martin Pipe 2 years ago. That looks the obvious one. Why do you want to run round in a Mare's Hurdle or the Stayer's Hurdle and finish 6th or 7th and actually win very little prize money as well? The final horse I think shouldn't be aimed at the graded race is Santini. Again, looking at his form, he was beaten by Chantry House. Is that good enough to win a Gold Cup? Do you think Chantry House can win a Gold Cup? No. Is Santini's effort good enough to win a Gold Cup? Absolutely not. The last time he ran in a handicap, he actually ran probably his best race for a long time. You can see he reduced in price by 82% in the run. And it wasn't a bad effort. He possibly just got a bit tired late on because it was his first run for a while. Let's have a look. It was his first run for 266 days for Polly Gundry. Surely they've got to think about looking at a handicap. And where does a horse that stays forever run? In a Grand National. He generally jumps quite well. He's down to a mark of 153 for a previous Gold Cup second, Cotswold Chase winner. A mark of 153 is by no means beyond him. run him in a long distance race in a handicap where he can actually use his handicap mark rather than finishing 5th, 6th, 7th in a Gold Cup and gaining nothing out of it. So there's 5 horses that I think could be dropped into handicap company, having previously been running in graded races, that could go and win races. I think McFabulous would run a big race in a Coral Cup. Rouge Vif, I think would win the Grand Annual. Chambleu would surely win the Paddy Power Plate. Indefatigable would have a great chance of returning and winning the Martin Pipe again. And Santini for the Grand National. They look obvious races to me. But it wouldn't surprise me if, of the 4, I think we might see one of them in a handicap. And I think the others will get well beat in graded races. So that's just an angle I like with horses that drop back from graded races into handicap company. The master trainer, Willie Mullins, does it. He has a great record. He's won it, 4 big races here. Asterion Phalange, Aramon, Arctic Fire and Saudier have all won feature handicaps, having dropped in the weights and arguably been demonstrated that they're not quite good enough for Grade 1 events, or weren't demonstrating they were good enough for Grade 1 events. Willie Mullins was prepared to drop them into handicap company and win big races. Surely the British trainers need to try and do something similar.